Hello and welcome back to our channel. My name is Amin.
And I'm Sarah. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
That's right. If you're looking to improve your English and learn about interesting topics, you are in the perfect place. Today we have a very important topic to discuss: how to manage emotions.
It's something everyone deals with, right? Sometimes you feel happy, sometimes sad, and sometimes very angry.
Exactly, and controlling these feelings can be difficult. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what emotions are, why we sometimes lose control, and share some simple, practical tips to help you manage them better.
So let's start with the basics. What are emotions?
That's a great question. In simple terms, emotions are feelings. Think about feelings like joy, sadness, anger, fear, or surprise. They are a natural, normal part of being human. They are messages from our brain.
Messages. I like that. So happiness might be a message that we like something, and fear might be a message that we need to be careful.
Precisely. The problem isn't the emotion itself. The problem is when our reaction to the emotion is too strong or out of control.
Right. So why do people sometimes lose control? What happens in our brains?
Well, it often happens when we feel stressed, tired, or surprised. When we feel a very strong emotion, like intense anger or fear, the thinking part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, can get, let's say, hijacked.
Hijacked? So the emotional part takes over?
Yes, the more primitive emotional part of our brain, the amygdala, takes charge. This is our brain's alarm system. It makes us react quickly without thinking. This is useful if a lion is chasing you.
But not so useful if your boss gives you some negative feedback.
Exactly. In that situation, you react before you think, and you might say or do something you regret later.
That makes perfect sense. Let's talk about some real-life examples. I think everyone has felt angry while driving in heavy traffic. Your heart beats faster, you might shout even though it doesn't help at all.
Oh, definitely. That's a classic example. Or what about at work? Imagine your boss sends you an email with some criticism about your project. The first feeling might be anger or defensiveness. You might want to write back a very angry email immediately.
Yes, that's that hijacked brain we talked about. The emotional brain wants to fight back, but a healthier reaction would be very different.
It would. So, how can we react in a healthier way in that situation?
Well, the first step is to just pause. Don't reply to the email right away. Maybe you get up from your desk, get a glass of water, and take a few deep breaths. This gives the thinking part of your brain time to catch up.
Right, giving it space. And what about a family situation? For example, you have an argument with your brother or sister. It's so easy to say something hurtful in the heat of the moment.
It is. In that case, a healthy reaction could be to say, "I'm feeling too angry to talk about this right now. Can we take a 10-minute break and then talk again?"
That's a fantastic strategy. It respects your own feelings and the other person's feelings too. You're not ignoring the problem, you're just handling it when you're calmer.
Exactly. This all sounds great in theory, but our listeners probably want some concrete, actionable advice. Let's share our top 5 practical tips for managing emotions.
Let's do it. I'll start with tip number 1, the power of the pause. This is the simplest but most effective technique. When you feel a strong emotion, just stop. Do nothing for 5 seconds. This small gap between the feeling and your reaction is where you find your power.
I love that. Just 5 seconds can change everything. Okay, my tip number 2 is deep breathing. When you're stressed or angry, your breathing becomes fast and shallow. Slowing your breath sends a signal to your brain to calm down. A simple technique is the 4-4-6 method. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, and breathe out slowly for 6 seconds. Do this 3 or 4 times. That's a great starting point. It sounds so simple, but in the moment, it can be really hard to remember. Do you have a trick for that?
Exactly. And it's not just about calming down. When you focus on your breath, you bring your attention to the present moment. This stops you from worrying about the future or getting angry about the past. It's a form of mindfulness. Absolutely. One trick is to practice it in low-stakes situations. For example, when you feel a little bit annoyed that you can't find your keys, just pause for 5 seconds. By practicing on small things, it becomes a habit that you can use when you face bigger emotional challenges. That's a great one. It physically calms your body. For tip number 3, I suggest name your feeling. Simply say the emotion out loud or to yourself. For example, I am feeling frustrated right now. When you name the emotion, you take away some of its power. You observe it instead of letting it control you.
That's so true. It creates distance. Tip number 4 is ask yourself why. Try to understand the reason behind your emotion. Ask, why am I feeling this way? Sometimes you might be angry about traffic, but the real reason is that you had a stressful day at work. Understanding the real cause helps you solve the real problem. I find this one so powerful. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Once you see the emotion for what it is, just a feeling, it's less scary. You can say, this is anxiety, instead of just feeling overwhelmed by it.
This is about becoming an emotional detective. Sometimes the first why isn't enough. You might need to dig deeper. There's a technique called the 5 whys. You keep asking why until you get to the root cause. For example, why am I angry? Because my friend was late. Why does that make me angry? Because I feel disrespected. Why do I feel disrespected? Because I feel my time isn't valued. Excellent point. And for our final tip, number 5, change your scenery. If you are in a situation that is making you emotional, physically move. If you're arguing in the living room, go to the kitchen or step outside for a minute. A change of environment can interrupt the emotional spiral and give you a fresh perspective.
So, to summarize our 5 tips, pause, breathe deeply, name the feeling, ask why, and change your scenery. Those are all things anyone can do. It's amazing how a simple physical change can create a mental one. Even just looking out a window or washing your face with cold water can be enough to break the pattern.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that managing your emotions is a skill. Like any skill, it takes practice. You won't be perfect overnight.
That's such an important, encouraging word. Be kind to yourself. Some days will be easier than others. The goal is progress, not perfection. Every time you pause or take a deep breath, it's a victory.
Well said, Sarah. So that's all the time we have for today. We hope these tips were helpful for you. Remember that understanding and managing your emotions is a powerful step towards a happier and healthier life.
It really is. We would love to hear from you. What are your favorite ways to manage your emotions? Share your thoughts and tips in the comments below. Your experience could help someone else in our community.
And if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content to help you learn English and improve your life.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves.
Bye, everyone.